5:30. Got Monday, August 11th, 2025. I will call the Chickasaw County Board of Supervisors to convene. Roll call, all members are present with Board Secretary Sheila Shackleton. Is there an approved today's agenda for August 11th? So. Motion by Scott, second by Travis to approve today's agenda as presented. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion is carried. Approve the minutes from August 4th, 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Isaac to approve the minutes on August 4th for the Board of Supervisors. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion is carried 4-0 with Succo abstaining. We got a couple minutes here. I think we'll try to squeeze the bids in quick. Let's do the generator. Open request for proposal for generators and the automatic transfer switch for the EMS building. Before I do that though, I'll read the text I got from the director on Friday. I just asked him about his opinion on where the funds would come from. He didn't answer that question, but he did state this. I have mixed feelings. We certainly need it when we need it. The incidents are so sporadic. The main station issue we are having currently is the apparatus bay getting so warm over medicine has fallen out of temperature range. I feel maybe investing the money in an AC unit, possible mini split, will be better use of funds. My opinion is still that we open them, unless you guys don't think we're going to install the generator, but here we go again. We did all this work. We have all these bids. There's 4 of them. I think there's 50,000, but there is 50,000 in his equipment line item. Potentially we could do both, but unless you guys have a different feeling of opening up these bids. On the bottom, we said we could reject all of them, but at that point, I think it spoils the contractors with their numbers. Brandon, did you have anything else to bring to that?
No, I guess second what Joel said. I guess the generator wasn't necessarily the EMS department's idea. It was brought to us that we should do it. We have, in our opinion, better things to spend that money on. Not to say it wouldn't be useful if we lose power, but public health is without their generator for forever. They need it more than we do. By far the AC and the app bay would be a way better way to spend money than a generator.
So again, 2 different ideas, 2 different buildings. The EOC has a backup generator, and that is what it was purchased for. EMS is its own standalone fund. Remember, that's the 2080 with the County Board of Supervisors. I guess Board of Supervisors, you guys want me to open them or not? We had it on the agenda to open them, so.
I think we should open them. I mean, I get that they don't maybe need a generator right now today, but tomorrow when electricity's off and there's a 911 call in the garage door, I'm hoping you're gonna wish you had that generator.
There's no ways to get them open, but I understand. I guess I think our biggest issue is we kind of feel like our hands being played. It'd be one thing if we would have come to you requesting a generator to spend our funds. But yeah, that means you guys are the 5 running it.
Any other board member have a concern of opening these bids? No? All right. We'll get them open here quick and see where we're going. The first one is EH Electric out of Ionia. Well, they were all by 4 o'clock Friday. EH Electric LLC, I can go through these later, but the total is $11,833.26. Spelt Electric out of Fredericksburg. $12,500. New Hampton Electric, New Hampton. $16,501.47. And Staff Electric out of New Hampton. $14,198. And then a little bit is Eric Hoy. Can I see his, please? One of them had a Kohler. Let's see what Eric has.
If you read on my bid, the gas line coming to the building is not big enough. So that was included in my bid, and I also had a 10-year warranty that's worth about $1,500 if it's any value to the board to know those two things. I don't think anybody else dug in deep enough to find out that the gas line wasn't big enough.
And then you put in here Black Hills Energy will put a new gas line in.
Yeah.
Yeah, yours. And Eric's, I guess, if you guys want these, we'll look at them later. You guys got anything? You guys want to look at them? Want to think about them for?
Well, I think we should look them over and maybe award it next week, just to make sure that everybody's bidding the exact same thing according to our RFP.
If we can
If
do
we
that.
up with that range of prices, I think we need to make sure.
Yeah, so I'll thank the bidders. I mean, it was nice to see more of them, and we will go through them.
Should we talk to Joel, see how he feels about your vote?
Is that,
50,000 in his budget?
yeah, we can,
I knew that going in.
we can talk to them about it.
He's always ready. He's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I think it'd be enough to do both.
Yeah.
I really do.
How do you guys feel about trying to do both?
Oh, yeah, we certainly chat about it. Again, we don't want to end up April, May going, man, we didn't know this was gonna happen. I wish we went to that generator and we would have funds for this instead. But yeah, certainly entertaining.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when we did the remodel, with anybody seen that in Corporate Bay. It's with medication and all the animals, it's,
Slowly,
that's, which someone's gonna be over soon, but I think it's more of a priority.
yeah, I would agree.
Can I see those or just write them down?
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Do you want to see the numbers or just?
I just want to see what's on.
Yeah, that's the public document. All right, we'll put it on for next week's agenda. 905 public comments. Terry, you request to speak at this time for recap of $2.9 million surplus.
I was wondering when the meeting's gonna be held to discuss it, when you estimate it to be about 2 weeks, and it's 3 or a month now. Then we're gonna allocate the money.
Yep. We will get
Bids
on,
were put out bids for, no question here about the secondary roads building. Where that money's gonna come from, which account's gonna come from. I don't think that was decided, was it?
no, we're gonna, that's today's agenda for TIF projects.
Just ask.
I think we were waiting, I'll just comment, we were waiting for the proposal for the air conditioner, that's next. Future agenda item here. So, yeah, we'll get to it.
Do you have an estimate of when? You said 2 weeks, and it's been over a month.
We were waiting for these bids, I was waiting for these bids to come in for the cooler, to see if we have enough in capital projects or not.
Okay.
Where do you get the 2.9 million surplus?
Well, just like it was a rough number. It's been floating around.
We'll visit, I wanna know where that came from, because that's not what we have for a surplus, so.
Close less.
I wish we did.
I'm asking the question that was asked me.
Okay. All right, thank you. We got 9:12, meet with Beth Eiler, Homeland Energy Solutions LLC. Good morning, Beth.
Good morning.
Discuss TIF funding. You handed out a packet this morning.
I did, and this is the same packet that I handed out in October. I did update a couple of things, but I know we have a new member, and I didn't know if he had access, so it is a lot of the same. I'm gonna stay seated if that's okay
Yeah,
with you.
that's
I don't wanna stand with my back to anyone,
No, that's
so.
fine. You-
Okay, good morning. I appreciate, the opportunity to be on the agenda this morning. Did talk to you back in October, requesting a TIF agreement with the county in January. You guys approved, adding us into the urban renewal district that you were already working on for the mills. Go ahead.
Time out. I was gonna call Ray.
Okay, yeah. And I updated this, Ray sent that email this morning, with some updated numbers, and I threw them in here real quick and reprinted a page, so,
I forgot that.
yeah.
Did dial the number first. We can just put it on this one. What is it? Nina?
It's 563-308-0680.
Hey Ray, can you hear us?
Yes,
Okay, so Beth is starting, go ahead, Beth.
not a little while, but I can hear.
Okay,
Okay, so I think the next step is for the county and Homeland to work on a development agreement, now that you have the urban renewal district and we're part of that. So this packet, gives you just some kind of an overview of Homeland. I won't go through all of that and who we are. None of that changed. The then, now, and future just talks about where we started, where we are, where we're headed. I did change this economic impact slide just a little bit. I updated it through 2024. The previous one just had through 2023. So a couple of things to point out there is we paid over $4 billion to local farmers for corn over the 16 years or so that we've been in production. And wages and benefits, almost $86 million. So just wanted to point out some of the impact that we have to the area and to the county. We do feel like our existence increased the value of corn, which increased the value of the land that the farmers have in the county, which I think would translate into increased tax revenue. So that's an impact that we've had for the county in a positive way. The corn slide, the next slide, that hasn't changed. It does increase our corn needs by about 12 million bushels. So we'll be purchasing well over 70 million bushels a year of corn from the local area. The expansion, that has not changed. So that slide is the same that it was. But I have added another slide, and it's mainly blue. This is the increased equipment that's going to be added in the expansion, and the additional employees has increased the need for spare parts inventory storage. As you guys may well know, in your experiences, lead times on equipment are long now. So if we have a vital piece of equipment that goes down and we need parts for that, and the lead time on those parts are 6 months to a year, we could potentially be down. So we store and acquire a significant amount of spare parts. The additional employees need space to work. So we are also adding some offices out in process, which is where maintenance is, and that would have those employees housed where they work and where they need to be. So that project, that building, those two buildings are budgeted for $5 million. So that would be real property. So I've added that into basically what we're asking. The property tax slide, which is the next slide, we currently pay about $640,000 a year. I understand the county doesn't keep all of that, and that does include our grain handling tax and our utility replacement tax that we have to pay on our natural gas line. The original build of the plant back in 2009 was under the High Quality Jobs Creation Program, which exempted us from property taxes for 20 years. We're getting up close to that 20th year. So after beginning with the 2029 assessment year, there will be an additional $550,000 roughly coming to the county from homeland and property taxes on that original build. So then this is the crux of the ask today. This is the tax increment financing page of the burgundy background. I have the plant expansion and the maintenance shed broken out separately. The taxable portion, or the real property portion of the expansion, is about $6.7 million. Have the maintenance shed, that's gonna cost about $5 million. Our estimated annual tax on the expansion, and this is the updated number from Ray this morning, is about $91,000. This is annual, about $91,626 per year. And then the estimated annual on the maintenance shed is about just under $60,000 a year. So what we're asking is a 90% TIF over 10 years, which would be about $1.5 million.
Yep, so, Homeland's been on our radar since we added them to the urban renewal plan. I've been in contact with Beth a couple times. Ray talked to you Friday or Thursday last week. So the email that Ray gave me, that I gave you guys this morning, is that spreadsheet of what the numbers you just had on the last page. So, Ray, I guess, if you can hear me, when's the first year of the 91 would go on for collection? What fiscal year? I think that is fiscal year.
All right, that would be with the 26 assessment,
Correct. So,
payable 27, 28.
so that first 91,000 is payable to the county, to all the other tax bodies, not just the county,
Right,
in fiscal year 27, 28.
27, 28.
And then
First assessed with the 26 assessment.
and then the additional one they're building currently or in the phase 2 build would be.
And then the new one would be, and I got that backwards there. The first line on the spreadsheet, that portion, that should be 1126, then 1127 would be 2028, 29. So I got those reversed, I apologize for that.
No. So that would be the additional 59. And those are approximately, because it's based off of levy rates of all tax bodies, which are subject to change by their bodies.
Right, correct.
So these are estimates, and you have not been out there to put a value on the new one yet. So the 91,000 is a very an estimate of what you shared, Beth, to Ray.
Remember, I'm using, in this situation, I'm using existing levy rates. Okay, first and foremost, for the 25 assessment, or the 24 assessment, payable 25, 26, the property tax statements that just went out. We do not know what levy rates are gonna be for, the following fiscal year, or future years. Period. Also on the value and tax base, I looked at what Beth originally gave me and her proposed, changes. I looked at, assessing those at about 80% of cost, and then receiving the 90% or the, assessment limitation of things change. One thing I would note is that House File 718, when it was passed 2 years ago, included revitalization areas or properties located in a revitalization area would require, if they're commercial or industrial, would require a minimum assessment agreement drawn up between the property owner and either the county or the city. With that said, we are still waiting on the definition of revitalization area from the Department of Management, whether that revitalization area, quote unquote, in the bill, also refers to an urban renewal area. I am taking it that right now it does not, but if it does, then there would need to be a minimum assessment agreement drawn up. Also, with that said, a minimum assessment agreement could be drawn up regardless of whether it's required or not. So that's pretty much all the information I have available to you at this time. You have questions of me?
Beth might have one.
I do, and I don't know if you can hear me. Ask them about the manufacturing industrial exemption, because we're comparing, or we're looking at, what we would get TIF for 90%, but if we don't have TIF, we have a manufacturing industrial exemption, which phases it in, phases the assessment in over 5 years.
Did you hear that, Ray?
Yes.
Is that
Does that
happen
make
within
sense?
5 years?
Okay, these projections do not take into consideration the 5-year partial industrial exemption. The 5-year partial industrial exemption phases in that value over those 5 years. I did not take that partial industrial exemption into consideration when I computed this tax projection.
And I would be using it as a comparison of, this is what you would get, what the county would get those years under that. This is what they would get, or what you'd be giving up. Basically, it decreases what the county is not getting from Homeland compared to what we have here, so.
So I guess, could you figure that out if they do get that 5-year phase in?
Yeah, I could put that together for you, and Beth, I could do that. I could have that possibly next week for you, yes.
Yeah.
Before.
Future talks on TIF urban renewal projects. If we did not do this, just say the board did not see this as a good business plan. That money goes into the urban renewal plan. If we have debt against that, what I'm saying is, since it's in our plan, where does that 91,000 if we don't give it back to Homeland? Do you know that answer?
That dollars would be incorporated with your TIF dollars, just as the wind turbine TIF money would be.
Okay.
It's now part of your legal description of your urban renewal district, and so that would be considered part of your incremental value. And so the incremental tax would in turn be set aside into your TIF funds, potential TIF funds.
Gotcha. I just want to pose that, not saying that's where we're at, but just so the board members understand, it is included in your urban renewal plan. How did you come up with 90%? Just you threw that number out? Okay.
Based on other, obviously, there's nothing to refer to for Chickasaw County, but other entities and their agreements.
The board, Ray, do you have any more questions, or anybody have questions for Ray, or we can let him go, or? Does the board have any questions for Homeland?
I got a couple, Beth.
Sure.
So, see how this impacts residents of Chickasaw County. What percent of the corn that Homeland uses, you estimate, comes out of Chickasaw County?
I'd have to get back to you on that. We'd have to run some reports. A significant portion, yeah.
A lot comes from other counties.
We do. We have some as 50 miles away, even, but yeah, a good portion of it comes from Chickasaw County.
And then another question would be, and if you could, the percentage of shares that are owned by residents of Chickasaw County. Just to see how, I mean, if Chickasaw County's giving up this tax money, we're benefiting a lot of people from people outside the county.
So you're
Get
talking
back with you with those
shareholders,
numbers.
like shareholders?
I can get back with you pretty quickly with those numbers.
Anybody else have any questions at this time, or? So Ray, the 91,000 would be less than if you put in the industrial credit over 5 years? Maybe he left us.
What's that again?
So the 91,000 for the first 27-28 collection, it's gonna be lower now if they have that industrial credit?
Yes.
It'd be low.
Yeah, that 5-year phase in would start with 25, that, let's say that 6 million, projected cost that I have, times 80% would be 4.8 million, right, assessed 100%.
Yep.
Using the 5-year partial industrial, it would that first assessment would be 25% of that 4.8 million. Or 1.2 million.
Okay, so it'd be a lot less.
And then you would add 15% each year thereafter.
Up to 5. Okay. So that really changes a whole lot. Okay.
Yeah, that would change it substantially. I will say this, I do appreciate working with Beth and her staff. They've been really great to work with here in the years, and when I've gone out to look at and review any work that they've done through the year for new construction, and so I just want to share that Beth and her staff have been very good to work with.
Yep. Agreed.
Can you estimate if that 5-year phase-in, is that backfilled by anyone, or is it just lost money in general for the counties and cities and all the tax levies?
David had a question about that 5-year phase-in. Is there any back from the state backfill, or is it just lost revenue?
No, there is no backfill.
So that's a tax break.
Yes.
Industry.
Correct. Must be in the House File 718, or,
We've gotten it.
That was not part of House File.
oh, it was not part of it. So you got it in the past.
That partial industrial exemption has been in place for a lot of years.
Okay, yep. I think we need to see those numbers, really, to see if it'll be a lot less. Only 25% of the value. Anything else, Ray, or board members, or Beth, or Dave?
No?
All right, thanks, Ray. All right, we'll get back to you. If you can get those sheets to either me, I can forward to all board members
Sure.
with those 2 questions, and then we'll wait for Ray. He'll probably send that to you also, the 25% and the 15%, what that looks like.
And I wasn't sure if it was like either or if the exemption would come in if we did TIF. So I'm not sure about that. I was just, for comparison purposes, it is a big difference.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Alrighty. If not, thank you.
Okay, thank
Appreciate
you.
it. So then moving on to discuss TIF projects, urban renewal plan. Last week, I emailed Jason from Ayers and Cooney and Travis, and we got onto a phone call with Vice Chair Scott, myself, and Engineer Roman to discuss some of the TIF projects / how the urban renewal plan works. Either one of you two, please help me out if I miss anything. So the question was, what declares the box to be checked on December 1st? And what that is you have to have debt, or So going back to what Ray's presented to us, the very first year that we can collect from the wind turbines is about $368,000. That number can only be collected if we have debt, architect fees, past bills of designing the urban renewal plan, which is about 20 to 22,000 currently. If we award the contract for the secondary road office / laboratory, that would be 40,000. So we only have really 62,000 to date on the TIF fund to be used for the December 1st, check the box. Roman did work on a spreadsheet of an additional project because the first year is gonna be the hardest to get a project or debt finance on paper, gotta have public hearings. And then the next year, we're gonna have a collection on the wind turbines of 737, approximately, based off the current levy rates currently. So we would have the same problem next year. So almost over $1 million of tax revenue paid for by Mid-America on their 66 wind turbine sites. This has nothing to talk about other properties. This is only the 66 wind turbine sites. It is what they're gonna be paying to the treasurer for their tax bill. You guys understand that? There's no other, and I get a lot of phone calls, I know you guys have too. This has nothing to do with anybody else's parcels. This is strictly with the 66 wind turbine sites. There could be more since we added Homeland in the years to come, once they get on the docket to be collect unknown numbers right now. Would be part of the TIF money that the county can use for projects if they're in the urban renewal plan. So then the second project got brought up on our phone call of what that second project would be. You guys got that sheet, Roman helped me out. So 40,000 for the architect, about 538,000 for the construction of the office /
Not to exceed all,
Yeah.
all this is not to exceed.
Yeah, and then 22,000 for legal fees up to for the urban renewal plan. So then our first public hearing sometime in September, October, roughly, Scott, right? September, October. We would have a public hearing not to exceed $600,000 to go out for that very first project to utilize the TIF dollars from the wind turbines. The second project that Roman was brought to the table was the resurfacing of
P22 East Gulf Vista.
that project in the stage of design. It's gonna be let.
So yeah, basically coming down to the fact where we're already gonna be chasing our tails if we just do the engineers building. Come around this time next year, we'll be, if we wanna capture this TIF revenue, we're gonna have to move quick. Well, right now we have a project that I had programmed for farm to market dollars. I'm almost done with the plans. We could let it whenever we want, once those plans are done and we do the required timeframes for advertising, get it let. Now we're alleviating our farm to market account, which is kind of playing catch up. It was barely gonna be able to fund this project as is, depending on what the bids come in. So if we fund it with TIF, we alleviate that, and we can also move that farm to market dollars for, say, B21, any other project. It doesn't have to be in the urban renewal plan area, this can be anywhere in the county with farm to market. So I thought it was a good suggestion, I guess that's why I made it. It gives us some time that, we do have to incur debt, but then we will capture all of that TIF revenue, specifically too, for a project that is a road. I know all the residents up there primarily are the ones that dealt with the wind turbines in regards to they have to live with them, so kind of gives them a shot in the arm right away.
So yeah, again, that will require a second public hearing to not exceed 2 million. Sometime in December, January, probably right before the letting, because there'd be money up front. If you sign the contract with said vendor, when would you need that money?
Well, if we let
March.
it, technically you're supposed to pay a mobilization fee within 30 days of contract. Depends when we let it. I mean, we could probably let this in November And then you could, I mean, if we let it, we could go incur debt prior to your December 1st.
Yeah.
Or if you incur, because I believe on that call, we'd have to incur that debt one way or another before, was it December 1st or the end of?
Before December 1st. So
Okay.
once that.
So to me, if we could move it up to, say, November letting, then we know that you'd have to move to the bank and get that process rolling really quickly. Otherwise, I would say the not to exceed $2 million, incur that debt, and we have our letting in December or January, construct in spring, summer.
Couple questions that Travis has for this board is, do you want to go out to local banks like we did when we did the radio project? So you would have anybody that does business with Chickasaw County Treasurer, do a local bank loan placement. You might get, I'm not gonna guess, but anywhere from 4 to 6% interest. But you do have the option to reinvest that until the money draws down to our set projects to help out the debt fund. Again, a lot of stuff here. We've never done this. I think we have some good resource team members helping us with this.
And just to explain the spreadsheet there, you can see where I phase in those projects where the cost would incur. And it shows, our TIF revenue and our remaining debt balance if we move forward with these projects. And then roughly 27, 28, currently in the URP, we have the Alta Vista reconstruction project in there. So that would be additional debt incurred. And you see by 2031, we would have all these projects paid off to be doing additional projects. Which I think is great. I'm very happy we have a TIF mechanism. This is something that could, I guess, save our infrastructure or bring it back up to snuff.
Yep, so, Travis is gonna prepare some documents after today's meeting of what kind of local banks you wanna go out to, not to exceed. To me, the first one would be 600,000 not to exceed. It could come in at 500. And then the other project would be the reconstruction of the B-22, not to exceed 2 million. Get those two separate public hearings, and then get those approved, and then check the box for the 386 or 368, subject to move. And then pretty much second year would be already checked. The second year would be checked because the debt would be more than what we would collect, the 737,000. And like you said, there's a little bit of Travis and Jason's fees that are not included in this worksheet that Roman prepared. And then the interest charge would also be in that. It's not figured in. Any questions that I missed, Scott, or statements?
No, I think it's pretty much covered.
So again, TIF is unique. Fortunate we have it since we did approve the urban renewal plan. But these projects will be solely funded by Mid-America Energy property tax throughout the year, 4 years? 4 or 5 years. And it would do the office/lavatory. It would do the Ella Vista B-22 road to 63. It would also do the third public hearing would be the Ella Vista reconstruction project for the inside Ella Vista up to the Howard County line. And then you even have your roads maintenance shed in here for 2930. That would be the fourth project.
Yeah, that's included in the URP currently. So, and I believe we had 2028 on it. That was, a year ago, whenever, vastly different numbers. So yeah, as that debt is incurred and your revenues, like I said already, if on our current schedule, 2031, we're $400,000 that we could have committed to additional projects. So that's why I put, perhaps the secondary roads maintenance west storage bays, we get into the design in maybe 29 at the earliest. These costs estimate, 150,000. And then construction, 1.6 to 2.5 million, just shooting off the hip from something I've seen other counties doing. Hancock County, for example, just put up a 27,000 square foot building that includes office space and storage, and that was $5 million. Our storage area would be about 13,000 square feet, and we're not gonna have, it's gonna be storage, wash bays, so it should be half that cost, I would say, even less, but also you're adding years of inflation. And so that's why I just stuck with 1.6 to 2.5.
Couple things Jason asked the bond attorney was, did we defer other projects in front of somebody else's? You, the committee met, I think we agreed that the county conservation storage building was scratched.
Yep.
The second one was a road or two.
Second one was the maintenance shop in 28, as well as the Alta Vista project.
The one through town.
The one through town, and now adding this Alta Vista project really didn't do much to the projections.
That wasn't in the urban renewal plan, so we're gonna have to amend that.
Yeah, we'd have to.
That's the second agenda item. And that's what you talked to the DOT about amending.
So I have a 5-year program revision. It's not technically an amendment, just they're different words, same meaning to me. If we move forward to this, it's already approved by the DOT. All it did is change the funding for that project from farm to market to local. Local doesn't mean secondary roads budget, doesn't have to mean, I should say. So this local indicates TIF will be paying for this. So that's all ready to go if we do choose to move forward.
And then it'll be a local levy.
And that would be a local levy. There will not be DOT involvement. We probably still, when we do coring, stuff like that, we would have to bring it to the DOT as we don't have that equipment through the lab aspects of it, but it's a small fee that we pay, so. I think it will streamline the project. We could let it whenever we want. Currently, it was in a January letting. If we want to move it up to November, completely could. That might also benefit us as far as, contractor availability and pricing. Might get a little better price out of the gate.
So pretty much everything I've asked or said was board discussion on adding this to the 5-year plan, using TIF dollars to pave B-22. And then last week we had a 3-1 vote to go out to architectural to do the office/lab building at the blighted parcel. So that one's pretty much included in the urban renewal plan. The B-22 is not.
That's a quick change.
Just a little bit of legal work to add that. And then we need to know not to exceed numbers, so Travis can get some documents together to show what that would look like at a local bank letting sometime September, October. Still got time, but December 1st is coming in sooner than we think.
I think it's a great use of TIF funding. Like, if we can use this money to upgrade our infrastructure, it definitely needs it in a lot of parts of the county.
And I think the positive is also moving the FM account then to other projects throughout the county. Because that's 1.8 million that can be used in other parts.
Yep, someone asked me about B56, which that's technically outside of the URP anyways, but I told them we already have, I got a federal grant for that, that's 2 years out. So we already got that stretch from 346 or 18 north to B54. That's gonna be constructed in 27. B21 would be the next one coming up. I'd probably, unless we move another project in. But it does help. If we move forward with this, it's gonna really help alleviate the burden on our farm to market account right now.
We had people question that when we had this urban renewal plan, why it was in the whole county, and that's what we tried to explain to them, that we could do
It's the
projects up
New
here.
School District with
Yes, we could move
some
projects.
extensions based on paved routes.
We'd have farm market money we could use somewhere else if we used TIF.
And I think that's a good purpose of
Yes.
either TIF and or farm to market funds to shift them around so we can rebuild a road in the whole Chickasaw County. Anybody else have a concern? Any more research, you guys, I mean, that's what Travis and Jason need next. What does the public hearing documents look like and what number not to exceed for the first public hearing? We'll get back to them on the second one. And then I think in the agenda here is the contract for architectural and then approval of the 5-year program version would add, for Roman's sake, make it a local project not a farmer market.
So the only way I want that to even be discussed is if we're gonna add it to our urban renewal plan. Otherwise, we're just, come back here with another revision to put it back to farm to market if it's not gonna be part of TIP.
So to be added though, we need language in the new
Project.
urban renewal plan, in the future agendas to add that into the plan. Because that one was not one of the projects, but it makes sense. That's where a lot of the turbines are, Steve, up in that area. And if we can shift farm to market to other areas and use TIF to do that, and you have a very good spreadsheet, Roman, thank you, of the building, B22, not to exceed 2.6 within 4 years of TIF dollars, that would be paid off. And remember, those TIF dollars are coming from Mid-America. They're coming to the county. We either check the box or we let it go back to the tax bodies. Which most likely, 50-ish% goes to the New Hampshire School District, so. It's a way
Yeah, already
to,
spreadsheet pretty much spells that out.
it would have went to that.
Yep.
Anybody have questions on TIF, how it works? You guys have concerns with these projects that were noted today? And then, I know Scott, you said about maybe 550 not to exceed, we can always go down after the lettings and not borrow it all, but we need permission not to exceed 550, not to exceed 600,000.
I just thought the 550 seemed like a little better number as far as, and I think, if for some reason it was more than that, I think we have local money, other money there. I can't imagine it'd be more than $50,000 more.
I mean, you got money in your budget, Roman, if it went over the 550 to do an office lab?
Yeah, you find it somewhere, it's shipped. I mean, we have, I can't remember the number I budgeted this year for buildings and grounds, but usually it's around 80,000. But that, I mean, that's not just, there's a lot of things in that item.
Yep, so what is the consensus then to get back to Travis so he can prepare? This is just getting the documents prepared and us to discuss before they're final, but what number would you guys be comfortable with not to exceed for the office / lab? And then the B22, that's an estimate from Roland himself of 1.8 million to start setting up the public hearings for said projects.
Like I said, I would be in favor of going to 600,000 and the 2 million for the B22.
Good.
That, just so you guys are aware on the B22, that 1.858 million, that's, I think, off of the $315,000 per mile. See, Howard County did a very similar project, constructing it this year. I think that they were getting around 270,000 a mile. So I'm really hoping that 1.8 even is high, but I also don't want to dig us into a hole that is easy to get out of if we just make the number right starting time. So I'm actually hoping that it would be lower than that 1.858.
And there's other projects too. We are testing panels right now in the sheriff's office and the courthouse. But going back to the sheriff's office, that building has been blighted. TIF dollars could pay for an upgrade over there too, if that's where we want to spend some of the TIF money. So, Isaac, you okay with not to exceed 600? Do you have any questions, concerns?
Now, I stated I was
on board with the building, but it's already in there. I mean, I'm good with B22. I'm okay with TIF in there for sure. I think we need to upgrade our infrastructure. I think it's good.
Okay.
Use of funds. So.
Gotcha. Travis?
Yep.
Scott?
Yeah.
So I'll work with Travis and Jason to get some documents prepared. See when we have to have the urban renewal plan updated, I think prior to add B22 to the plan before we go out for public hearing.
So, just my general comment here from the public, because the public's gonna hear $2.6 million thrown over your bar.
Yep.
And I just wanna make sure that it's as clear as we can try and get. I'm trying to help you, because you're gonna get a lot of pushback on this, I right here.
Yep.
Because they're gonna tune out everything you said except for bar. Because that's how people react, that's the way it is. But I think it'd be beneficial if somehow you either integrate it in the paper or put it on your website or made it available publication, what these numbers are that's coming in. Because people aren't gonna appreciate what that is and how that's gonna work. So when you have on here 2026, you're bringing in almost $30 million, in 2027, it's $750,000. That is gonna, in theory, pay for what you're borrowing. I think you've done a good job explaining it this morning, but the more times we can explain that, the more ways we can explain it, more ways perhaps, with numbers and putting it out there, I think is gonna be beneficial for people.
And I agree, that's why I was prepared to explain all that again, because first time the county's using TIF, cities already do.
Yep.
I mean, we had that talk the last 2 years about the city of New Hampton using TIF, which is out of our control. We're doing it with wind turbines, nobody else's parcels, nobody else's residential house. This is strictly 66 wind turbine sites paid for by Mid-America Energy.
And the feedback is, and the severity of that part of the story is roughly half that money would flow to the school district had you not captured any of it.
Exactly.
So.
We did have the past superintendent up here.
Right.
I encourage him to be up here.
That's a rather large, we're looking in 2027 already, $360,000 anticipated would go to the school.
Yep.
That's gonna go to you, not you guys, it's gonna go to your TIF projects instead.
In 2020, or 2031, over $1 million.
Correct. We're talking some rather large numbers here to get into the outer years, so.
And
Jay,
that's why,
you want 363, 727, what's the third year?
737.
30 year,
Seven,
the 30 is 1.1 mil.
what's that?
The 5% increases, so 368, 737, 1.1.
1.1, and that's, keeps going up for a
Then
couple of years.
1.47, 1.84, 2.21.
2.21 is the cap of the
Okay.
30%.
Okay.
Pending levy rates.
Yeah, current levy rates, so
Yep.
that's based on current levy rates.
Those are based off of current levy rates. And everybody got their tax slips that own parcels. You can see the tax breakdown of your levy rates. You got, not trying to bore anybody, but you got school, county / city, rural, RSB, extension, assessor, college. We're capturing all that, but their debt, remind you, their debt is still collected. And that's where these numbers come from. 3 townships, Jacksonville, I think Washington and New Hampton are the 3 townships that the tax district wind turbines are in. So any of those tax buys that live in those, that are in those 3 townships, that's who we're talking about.
And I'm making sure I'm clear on this. I'm not passing judgment on the projects or what percentage you're using. I'm just trying to help the
Thank
public
you.
understand what we're doing here. Because this is the first time I've heard this board say that we're committed to taking 100% of that money. I think I heard a couple months ago, we're committed to taking some of it because we think we would want some of it. But now we take the next step, it sounds like, and we're saying, hey, at least for the next 3 years, we want 100% of that money. That's what I'm hearing. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page and the public's going to be aware of how this works, because it is complicated.
It is.
It's complicated for even those of us that work with the numbers, it's complicated. But
Unless anything, Scott, from the meeting that we had, or
You could do like the DOT used to do with the gas tax, but this road funded with TIF sign. Most people said this sign was funded with it too, so.
So if that's okay, I heard 600, 2 million. We'll see what the papers look like from Travis and Jason, and then Jason will work on adding legal description for B22.
Probably come from being right.
Yep.
I already wrote a note down to get it to him.
So just legal description to add that to urban renewal plan, and then whatever we have to do for an urban renewal plan update, amendment, whatever they call it. Are we okay with that line item? Discuss TIP projects, urban renewal plan. I think we'll move on to Roman after we do the 945 one here.
So just for clarity's sake, when you anticipate, I guess I got the card for the horse, you're trying where I'm going with this. Do you want to take a vote on whether you want to add that to the urban renewal plan, or do you want to wait until the urban renewal plan, the amendment is presented to you and then vote on the amendment?
Well, I think I have the consensus to add it. If not, I don't want to waste Jason's time.
That's where I'm going. Here's my fear. You have a consensus today, and then somehow the public responds the way the public sometimes responds. And then next Monday, we set up here 2 weeks, and we've added that in, and all of a sudden, we don't have support for it. We get some pushback. I just don't want to waste.
I guess we'll use a motion then. Is there a motion to add the B22 to the urban renewal plan to draft documents?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Thank you.
Who seconded that?
Motion by Steve, second by Scott, to add B22 resurfacing project to our urban renewal plan for documentations to be drafted. Fair enough?
Perfect, yes, and just for the record, it's 5.9 miles.
5.9
Yeah,
miles?
just asked. So we have a concept of time and space.
Okay.
And that makes it.
But, I know. I'm gonna read this text quick. It's just, I think Ray is trying to call me. Remember too that wind energy is under a special assessment of 30% of cost and not market value. Yeah, you guys all knew that, right? Okay, thanks, Ray. So roll call by Steve, second by Scott. To do that, adding B22 resurfacing to the urban renewal plan to get the draft papers. We will vote on it again with the papers, right? This is just to get it to the monitoring. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? That motion is carried. Thanks, Dave. All right, 9:45, a little bit late here. I know Jeff's here, right? Jeff, Ray's, or Roman's here. So this discussion was last week. Discuss Heartland Insurance pricing for 911 Service Board and secondary roads of the property insurance. Sheila sent out new numbers. And after much discussion, yeah, those are the two types. I got it here somewhere. So the 911 Service Board, under our records, show that the 3 tower sites, the New Hampton Anchor pays about $7,000. Tower at Nashua is $2,700, and the tower at Waller is $2,700. This is just for the property owned by Jeff, 911.
So it must be just the equipment.
Just the
We
equipment.
own the property, right?
Just the equipment. So this is under your schedule. This is just the equipment of LP tank, generator. The anchor site would be the tower.
Right.
All 3 would be the buildings. Each one has a building.
Anyway,
And the equipment inside the buildings. So this is property insurance in the 3 tower. That's why New Hampton's is $7,000, because we own that tower. The other 2 are cheaper.
It's like the tower and the generator.
The generator's spelled out, and the tower,
Building,
communication.
tower. And then the other one is.
So that equals $12,797.63. That is right off the schedule from Heartland. I guess is this board willing to submit that bill along with the other ones that have already been submitted for auto and work comp and cyber in general,
Which she's already paid.
which you already paid. Do we send the other $12,000 for property insurance for reimbursement?
and I'd ask, obviously didn't do this in the past, and we did not budget for this.
So, and I would resonate that as well. I asked if I need to make a budget amendment, and it was said, well, the board's got to discuss it on Monday.
If we could start this next year, is what you guys mentioned when I watched the video, I guess, it would be a lot easier on me, and I'm sure on Roman, to put that in the budget and plan on that for the future.
And that's why it's back on today, because there was a 2-2 consensus to do that, so I know Travis needs to get caught up here. So then on secondary roads, we found out that the
I was missing one.
7 garages property was never billed to secondary roads. I remind you, they pay usually in June. That's $27,533 that I feel should be paid for by secondary road system, because indeed it is their property insurance.
It's coming in GS.
And right now, both of these are coming out of GS, correct? So currently, general supplemental, which means all parcels of the county taxpayers are paying these 2 claims, which I feel should be 911 and secondary roads
How long have we been doing it this way?
forever.
Yeah, so I'm still on the same thoughts that I think we should just move it up to next year so you can budget for it instead of doing budget.
I would certainly appreciate that.
Isaac, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I agree. It's a clean start.
Travis?
I mean, all would be a budget amendment, correct?
And I think we have to do one anyway for TIF, and I think some of the departments still in talks of potentially needing one, or we might need one too for the cooling tower that we will open shortly. So,
Well, I guess we might, let's not kick the can down the road and let's make it right now. That's my opinion.
Scott?
I think we should do it now, I guess. I mean, I know we've done it this way forever, but, you know, it's not right that the cities are paying, for rural services. We always hear about how the rural's getting taken, well, this is falling back on the cities.
911 does cover it.
Well, 911, I do realize that, I'm talking about so much on the secondary road. Yeah.
So just me, not Jeff. Trying to help you.
I know, I mean.
Well,
I feel bad.
911 has its own funding mechanism.
It does, and that's, obviously, you guys have heard about the new charges that are coming back from the state, that's gonna impact their budgets tremendously. Said I didn't budget for this because they hadn't been doing it in the 7 years that I've been here. I'd be happy to put it in the plan for next year.
I have not changed my opinion. I think once you find an error, it needs to be corrected. Why kick the can down the road longer and longer when the error was found? I think if we're doing a budget amendment, I think this should be part of the budget amendment. To make a true picture of cost of doing business. So yeah, I think if you guys can get numbers back to the auditor for a budget amendment, if you need one for this. But I think these bills should be sent over to the departments that is strictly their property. I believe that was a consensus, so.
Somebody make a motion for that, sorry.
Yeah,
Again, sorry, I'm just not a fan of consensus.
all right, is there a
It may
motion?
change.
Yeah,
I'll wait
fair
for
enough.
Thank you.
Travis?
I won't second.
Motion by Travis, second by Scott to direct the auditors to send bills to 911 Service Board and secondary roads for property insurance. As noted, $12,797.63 for the 911 Service Board and $27,533.11 for secondary road. Any discussion? If not, roll call. Travis? Aye. Scott?
Aye.
Steve?
Hey,
Isaac? Jake, aye. Motion is carried 3-2. All right. Thanks, guys. Back up to Roman. Review and approve contract with Tira Architectural.
So I looked through this, David perused through it as well. Seems pretty standard to me. The one thing I guess I had a question on, or if you guys approve it, they have my name in the signature line, do you want me to sign on behalf of the Board of Supervisors? I told them, they're like, well, the board chair, or the whole board wants to sign, they can sign below. Notice that at the end of the day, Friday.
It's gonna be hopefully a TIF project with this vote, so I think the board should. But it's gonna be in your property, I guess. Where does the board see on deciding these contracts moving forward? Even for that project in November, December. Who should sign these legal documents? Any idea?
Haven't we done in the past, let you sign on behalf? We do that with all of our projects anymore. The state has changed the ruling to where you guys don't even have to sign semifinal or final vouchers, which is great, because all it is they add a week timeline. I mean, I'm gonna keep you guys informed of everything that needs to be. I don't know how, that's totally up to you. I informed all consultants that they all asked, what's the time frame for getting approvals? I said, well, if you got it to me by Thursday, it'd be Monday the following week, if it requires board approval, so. I guess, we could have myself sign and then also have Jake sign underneath and designate that he's the board chair.
I guess that's who the contract holder is, I suppose, this auditor's question, who's paying for this until you get the debt repaid? If it's coming out of Roman's.
It's coming out of ours.
It's coming out of your department,
So you should
or
be
your
signing
office,
it,
so I think
yeah.
the board should,
So we-
kind of should the board now.
So you could put your name and title below.
Okay, I can do that. Here's the page, guys, so I can just put board chair, print and sign.
And I think that would change the beginning of it then too, it should be with the Chickasaw County, not with the engineer's office.
So anything with the TIF should be with Chickasaw County.
Okay, we'll change those up.
Contract with the county, with your.
You guys all got a copy of it, we'll change the owner to Chickasaw County and have a line for myself.
Signature line.
Is there a motion? Steve, and then Scott. Motion by Steve, second by Scott, to approve contract with, I always pronounce it bad, but Atura Architectural out of Clear Lake, Iowa, for an office / lab building at the main garage. Any discussion? If not, roll call, Steve. Aye. Scott. Travis. Aye. Isaac. Jake. Aye. Motion is carried 4-1. Review and approve the 2026 county 5-year program version .1 revision.
So as described earlier, this is just a revision to our 5-year plan. Only change is the funding for the B-22 HMA Coleman Place project. Transferring the funding from farm to market to local, and in this case, local indicates TIF. So that is the sole change from the 5-year program that you guys reviewed and approved. Do you have a copy of that, Jake? Or do you need this?
I have a copy right here.
Okay.
Yeah, it was sent to us, but
I've got one here too, if you need that.
do you have any questions? It was discussed pretty in-depth in the last hour. Just to take the B-22 from the state bid process to a local one. If we do this, like you said, he doesn't want to flip-flop, because then this project will probably not happen, because you'd have to flip-flop.
What would make it tough is if we're doing the public hearing in September, October-ish, whatever that may be. On our current schedule, if it was to be let utilizing farm market dollars, check plans would be due September 2nd and submitted to the DOT. So, you know, they're on a schedule right now where check plans have to be submitted, September 2nd. That gets us a letting at the end of January. I can make the whole plan set ready probably, well, hopefully by September 2nd. And we could let the thing in October or November. It's just DOT scheduling doesn't move as quick as we can with the local letting.
Make a motion to approve 2026 county 5-year program version 0.1 revision.
Okay.
Motion by Steve, second by Travis, to approve the 2026 county 5-year program revision, .1 revision, to change right round B-22 to a local lane.
Yes.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye, anybody opposed? Motion is carried. Department update.
Department update, we did get started on our second round of mowing on gravel roads, in the 2 New Hampton routes. As I said last week, we did have round 2 completed on the hard surface. Now we're trying to get the second round of the blade guys as they're able, as conditions warrant. You know, if it dries out too much, they'll be running their routes. Bridge 1981 project, which is on Windsor Avenue north of 160th Street. We closed that to traffic last week. The bridge demo is about completed. We should probably be dragging some tiles on the south abutment this week. Liza, Ben, and myself were out there Friday doing some stakeout stuff for the bridge crew. So that'll see some progress. We're still waiting on the beams, but they indicated that those should be delivered this week, and I don't anticipate needing beams for a couple, 2-3 weeks. 3 crossroad culvert replacements on Kenwood Avenue. One was south or north of 165th, and then one north and south of 110th Street. With this project in B22, we are going to extend 35-foot billets on the approach intersections to keep traffic and our maintainer operator safe when they're grading the approach roads. So the assistants, when they went out and looked at some of those, noticed that the culverts on that stretch were bad, so we replaced them, so we didn't just put asphalt over something that needs to be ripped out shortly later. Entrance culvert replaced at Howard Woods. I know Chad was poking us on that last week, so that was completed last week. Blades route, spot racking, routine blading when able, not doing other tasks. Dura patching on B18. Also did some shoulder repairs on T76 after the repeated rains that the Nashua area has been receiving. Bridge 2400, that was the one on the Caldwell Road, west of B18. They did pour the last replacement beam on August 3rd, so right now that shows a ship date of August 17th. Tentatively planning a deck pour in the first week of September. If all goes well, we should have this thing opened up around November 1st. Weather pending. Bridge 2000, we did a lot of design and development work last week. We got 3 projects that we were trying to push through to the September deadline for check plans. Liza did get some rock pouring completed by Terracon at Bridge 2000 on Vanderbilt north of 160th. It confirmed our beliefs. We do have rock very shallow. So we're going to be doing a spread footing keyed into the bedrock. My first one, it might be the county's first one. I don't know. We don't hit bedrock too often, so it'll be interesting. Generated the CFYP revision, made the projections for you guys in regards to TIF. I did submit, got a NOFO, a notice of funding opportunity from the county engineers grants committee for the bridge improvement program grant, which is a federal grant, as well as all the other ones that we've been applying for lately. Submitted 2 for that. One would be Bridge 19980 on B14 south of Highway 18, and Bridge 19670 on South Lynn. So both of those are submitted. I think they're really good candidates as they're in our program. This one looks heavily at, is it been planned, is it ready to go? We already got the one on the Ione Blacktop basically designed, minus just getting the plan set done, but we know what's going in there. We can quick get a survey done on the one south of town and design that as quick as possible. I know they said that they'd like, fixed sizes by October 15th, and I know we can get that deadline, but so I submitted another grant application in the amount of $1.532 million. These would be again a 20% match needed, estimated, that might change. That 80-20 is not a guarantee, that's what they project, so. Hopefully we get that. Aside from that, when we had time and the water was down, we inspected most all of the structures in the southwest quadrant of the county for flood damage. We didn't really notice any major stuff. I mean, there was some washing and little odds and ends, but nothing that was alarming. So for 9 inches of rain and I don't know, what was it, 5 days a week?
About a week, so.
And all things considered, we got pretty lucky. I know it was still a mess, but not bad.
Any questions for Roman for secondary roads?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, moving on, open request for proposed RFP for cooler tower replacement at the courthouse. Again, these were due by 4 o'clock on Friday. We only got one. So how would you guys like to handle this? It went out to, I got a list in the file. I delivered them to Gertz Plumbing and Heating, McGage Plumbing and Heating. It was emailed to Mick Shackleton, Plumbing and Heating. There's a fourth one.
I gave a RFP to Frankfurt.
You get one to Frankfurt. Okay. I don't know, what I heard is that didn't have time, some of them didn't, and they didn't want to bid it because of the crane, so. You guys want to open it, see what we got? It is from Mid-Gauge Plumbing.
I get 2 options, obviously, you can open it, reserve the right to reject, or you kind of spoil the bids at that point. Jake and I talked about this last week. The other option at that point, if we had no bids, was if this is a larger project with the crane involved, do we widen our base a little bit and perhaps put it in some of the trade magazines or contact some folks from the water from Mason City or elsewhere?
Yeah, the fourth one was, you got an email Sheila did
Yeah,
from Wisconsin.
And they put it,
It was a statewide bid for the state of Wisconsin.
Okay.
So it did go with that way.
I just don't know how far our reach made it, I guess, would be the question.
You guys got any thoughts or feelings or?
How many of them said they didn't have the time to do it? Out of the
2?
We allow them more time.
I think the issue is, I think the whole thing of ordering it and trying to fit this in before, well, whenever, we kind of wanted it done in September, October, and it took so much time to order it. Not trying to throw it one way, but you guys saw the claims, what it costs for a train to come up here twice and to put in those bypass breakers. There's a bill behind us for like $7,100. So this unit is not getting any better as we speak.
If it's September, October, or if it's February, March, doesn't probably make a lot of difference because we're not gonna be using that unit another month or so.
Nope. What do you guys want to do?
Well, we have a local one, I think we can still a personal thing.
Okay, you want to see it and see if we have money in capital projects, and then if you want to reject at that point, I guess, I don't. It was out there for what, 3.5 weeks to bid?
I think we open it.
You got anything else, Steve?
I'd like to get another bid from, see if we can get another bid from somebody. I agree.
Yeah, I understand Yeah, second bid.
All right, here it is. We'll keep that on file, I guess. We will let the bidder know.
Yeah, so I think we need to, sorry, I had you already.
Oh, go ahead.
But I would pick a new date and settle that, and I would give him a chance to rebid, obviously. I don't think it's fair if you're gonna be locked in if you're redoing it. I mean, I think he should have a chance to rebid if he'd like to, whoever the bidder was.
Good.
Because you guys can start the process all over again.
You know, so do you guys want the same RFP to go out, and I guess to who? And when do they do back now? So we got the 11th, due back by the September 5th or August 29th?
Probably September 5th. So I kind of like to see it go a little farther out to just like kind
Let's pick a date, so September 5th, okay?
Yeah, so
Okay, by 4 o'clock, same verbiage. Who would like to help? Sheila and myself, I guess, to get it out to somebody else. I thought I worked pretty hard on that, so,
I can help if you need.
yeah, like I said, I don't know if we have to go to, what's the state say? A statewide bid? What do they call it?
Yeah, there's a publication for it. I mean, that's what you put in there. I mean, I don't know. Suppose you just Google HVAC. I know a couple of Mason cities that are rather large. We're getting away from the local contractor there, but if you want multiple bids, that's how you're gonna get them. There's kind of the national wire net. I guess my only question or comment would be, if it's related to the public comment earlier today, then is that, do we need a budget amendment before the middle of September, or is that not needed? Because the budget amendment was hinging upon this, is the way I think
It kind of is, because my 2 cents of bidding local to, it could be more expensive now than what this folder has.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not putting my finger on the scale either way.
Or devil's advocate, this bid takes away, and we don't have one in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we can do whatever we want to do here. I just want to help them, because I tried my hardest to get where I'm at today. I heard September 5th, 4 o'clock, and I guess 1 or 2 of you will be helping, or one of you for sure, or Sheila will direct some assistance of where we need to go with these. I'm just afraid you might not have a local bidder. That's okay. So what more information do you guys want in the motion to get new bids back by September 5th? Scott, Steve, Isaac? Who do you want in the motion? Who are we going to? Because pretty much we rejected this. Fair enough.
Correct, yeah, basically you're rejecting the bids, and you're starting the process all over. Yep.
Yeah, if we could get a statewide publication, I would like that. I'd like to stay local, but just one bid, I was not real comfortable with that.
So is that a motion to reject the bid we have and go for a statewide
Yes,
due back by September 5th, 4 o'clock?
yes.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Isaac to reject the RFP for cooling tower replacement at the courthouse. The new bids are due back by September 5th at 4 o'clock in the auditor's office, and include going out for statewide bids. Fair enough?
Yes.
Any discussion? Roll call, Steve.
Aye.
Isaac.
Aye.
Travis.
No.
Scott.
Aye.
Jake, no. Motion is carried 3-2. Third reading and consider adoption of the Chickasaw County Ordinance number V1-8, utility scale solar installation. We had the second reading last week. Today will be the third reading as noted. I have not heard anything from anyone on this ordinance. Have you, Sheila? No written comments, no emails. Have any other board member heard anything positive, negative? You have not taken any calls? Nothing. All right, so I will declare this as the third reading of establishing regulations for utility scale solar installations in the unincorporated areas of Chickasaw County, Iowa. And then we establish regulations for the installation of those said projects in this ordinance. So this would be the third and final. And then I guess the motion, Dave, would also say passed pending publication notice.
Yeah, I just think you can have a motion to approve the ordinance itself, or the ordinance that becomes effective upon publication.
Is there that said motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, resolution 08-11-25-32.
No,
Oh, I apologize.
it's just approving the ordinance B1-8.
Yep. I apologize for reading.
No, you're good. Is there a second?
Sorry.
Motion by Isaac, second by Steve to approve the adoption of the Chickasaw County Ordinance B1-8 utility scale solar installation pending publication notice. When is the paper gonna get that, I guess?
It's a.
Do you have room, Bob, this week for it?
You do have a, okay,
So,
so Thursday,
It'll be
Friday.
published in Thursdays in New Hampton and Fridays in Nashville. Papers. Any discussion? Roll call, Isaac. Steve?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Jake, aye. Motion is carried 5-0. Consider resolution 811-25-31, a resolution abandoning and reverting a roadway right-of-way easement identified as the west one half of the vacated street lying east of and adjacent to lot 28 and the south one half of the vacated street lying north and adjacent to lots 24 and 29 of the irregular survey of the southeast quarters of section 28, township 95 north, range 12 west of the 5th PM in the Chickasaw County, Iowa, and authorizing a conveyance by quitclaim deed to Lonnie H. Drulo and William J. Drulo.
So this came to me last week from, I guess, Ray and Roman, who it originated with, but it came from both of them. Roadway easement. County road, the road was abandoned back in 1977. Apparently they're gonna do something with the property. We're trying to clean up the legal description of the deed and wanted to make sure this portion was included in the property description parcel itself. So we've done several of these before. It doesn't restrict the access by any of the adjoining properties, including this property. So it's rather straightforward. Like I said, we've done several of these before. It's just essentially cleaning up what was abandoned 40 years ago. I would recommend Roman, Ray, and I have all looked at it all worked on it, and I think jointly the three of us would recommend approval of the resolution and chair signature on the deed.
Is there a motion for resolution 811-25-31?
Cool.
Second.
Motion by Travis, second by Isaac to approve resolution 811-25-31 to give Southern County right of way back to Lonnie and William Drabo, however it's pronounced. And sign the quitclaim deed on the board's behalf. Any discussion? If not, roll call. Travis.
Aye.
Isaac.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Jake, aye. Motion is carried 5-0. Thanks, Dave. Consider resolution 811-25-32, a resolution setting the schedule of non-refundable fees associated with implementing the Chickasaw County subdivision ordinance.
This one's mine as well. This is a follow-up from the discussion you guys had a couple weeks ago when Ray was in here as land use administrator and talked about changing the fees for his work in connection with subdivisions, splits, et cetera. We thought it was in the ordinance itself, but it was not in the ordinance. It was actually a separate resolution that was done back when they passed the subdivision ordinance back in 2007. So that actually makes it a lot easier for us. So now we just have this resolution. You guys discussed these fees. The only one that was not discussed, the meeting was the very last one, vacation. Ray said we haven't done one of those yet. But we did increase it from 100 to 150. The rest is as was discussed a couple weeks ago. This just puts into effect what you guys talked about and approved with him when he was up here, and supersedes the original resolution passed back in 07 that set the fees. They have not been changed in 15 years. So I jointly with Ray, that's what I heard.
Sounds good. Is there a motion to approve resolution 8/11/25-32?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Steve, second by Isaac to approve resolution 8/11/25-32, setting a schedule of non-refundable fees associated with implementing the Chickasaw County subdivision ordinance. Any discussion? If not, roll call. Steve.
Aye.
Isaac. Travis.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Jake. Aye. Motion is carried 5-0. Thank you. Opioid committee update.
It was also me. Opioid committee met here a week and a half ago. It was a good meeting. We had pathways on the call. Everyone was present, all of our members. We did move forward with some additional ideas. One of those ideas is we currently have the Too Good for Drugs program in the 4th grade level in both the Sumner Fred and the Nashville Plainfield school districts. We decided in conjunction with Pathways to expand that to beyond just the 4th grade to also the 6th graders. So we're doubling the coverage in those 2 school districts, so we'll cover both 4th and 6th. And we're gonna try and reach out to New Hampton to get in the 4th graders to start that same program in New Hampton schools. Opioid Awareness Day or Week is in September, middle of September. So we're gonna meet again, I think we're starting to find a date now, but the beginning of September, we're gonna meet again and talk about some programming potentially, in our local, media to promote that, and then some additional ideas from public health as some expenditures they can take, or we can use the opioid funds to cover some of their regular expenditures and stuff they're buying, equipment, programming, et cetera. And we just got another check, we're having another check on its way, about $8,000. The account continues to grow.
That's right.
And we continue to try and find ways to spend it. So the action item out of our meeting is a new agreement. Vicki and I worked on finalizing this last week with Pathways. As you recall, we did an agreement back in April that covered just the 4th graders in those 2 southern school districts. And now we're gonna do a new agreement. This will replace that one. This will cover both the 4th and 6th graders. It'll be up to $17,900. It'll be effective August 1, because they already have some equipment they wanna buy. And then it'll run through June 30, so it'll cover basically this entire school year. I would recommend approval, chair signature on the agreement with Pathways to cover those 2 grade levels in the 2 southern school districts, and hopefully we'll have one for Hampton School District at some point in the future. Yeah, this year we hope, but we'll see.
So this would be using opioid settlement funds, $17,901.10.
Make a motion to approve agreement with Pathways Behavioral Services with chair signature.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Scott, to approve the agreement with Pathways Behavioral Services, Inc. in the amount of $17,901.10 opioid funds. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, anybody opposed? Motion is carried.
So do you want me to send this to Vicki Miller or
So it comes back to me, I stand mail it to her, and then she'll send us back a copy of it. Yeah, so did the last one.
Looking for an email here for the next agenda item. All right, discuss Heritage Center lease with CICS for Disability Access Point DAF office space. So this email was sent to Sheila on August 5th. Hello, my name is Danielle Reitz. I am the service navigator for Chickasaw County. We are the regional funding that is now covering Chickasaw County, which was previously covered by County Social Service. I'm reaching out regarding a potential landing point for me within your offices. We're looking for a defined office space. One time a week for me to be available to the public to access. Our budget does not allow us to rent in all 44 counties that we are now serving, making it difficult for us to find and to have an access point for the public. Is there anything available within the courthouse that could be a landing point for me? We could provide office supplies for ourselves. If there is a potential to have a landing spot at the courthouse, please let me know. I can be reached at via email or phone number. If there is not a potential landing spot, do you have any recommendations to inquire elsewhere? So then I got that email, I reached out to her, we went back and forth 4 times. And I said, I'll put on today's agenda to see if the Heritage, unless you guys think there's a spot in the courthouse. I reached out and said there could be a potential spot at the Heritage Center. Dave Gorman did check for me. The spot that CSS did have is still open. So I guess I would recommend to have CICS. Dave did give me a copy of the old CSS contract, so CICS has it. They just have to change, or we would have to change their new name for CSS's name, and then bring it back to you guys. I did offer them to come up and look at the building / office. So pending board approval today, if that's the way we see. Because it's something for them to come in to have an access point for disability access point.
What is CICS?
I Googled that, and it's the new, so it's Central Iowa, it's the old name for CSS, but it's the Central Iowa region. They got to keep their name because they are the DAP, I think, for 3 districts.
Central Iowa.
Central Iowa, probably. I tried to Google it from the Department of Health and Human Services, but I could not find those.
This is the replacement for CSS.
Only for the DAP, so just for the disability access point. The mental health or behavioral health is out of Des Moines yet, and they have not reached out with their navigators, because that's their new term, to be the go-to of our district.
So if in fact they reach out from the other branch of that department, do we have office space for them?
We would. I would try to do it in the same one, because they bring their stuff with them. Just like DHS, right? We provide them a desk and lights and power.
Okay.
Central Iowa Community Services.
There you go. It's the region that got 3 of the RFPs for the 3 districts.
Just want to make sure there's room for that, because we've seen a significant number this calendar year of upticks in mental health cases in the county and substance abuse cases. So if
I'm hoping that these guys pick a day like Thursday and the other one picks Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
perfect. It's the same brand, it's the same organization, just different branches.
Different branches of
Okay.
DHHS.
Yeah, you think they could share it, but
Are you guys okay with the same verbiage of $1 and since this is a state agency? No. Kind of, state agency.
I'm fine with it. I don't think,
So I'll reach out to her that says that we have a consensus to have them come look at it, and hopefully they can sign a contract first and then move into the Heritage Center for the disability access point.
I would just, legal question, but ask her or have her contact me, because I'm curious if we're signing the agreement with CICS itself, that we just have one agreement that would cover all divisions of their organization, so I'm going with that, or we need a separate agreement?
So they're 2 separate. The other one is called ASO.
Okay, I don't know what's
I don't
going on
know.
with those things.
No, I know, there's so many abbreviations. I'll have to reach out to her.
Okay, that's fine, just.
I guess, is there a motion to allow these guys to come in? I think they're gonna be willing to come in for $1.
So,
Is there a second?
second.
And this motion is recommend prepare a lease agreement with them.
Yes.
If desired.
Motion by Scott, second by Isaac to approve and allow CICS for disability access point to our Heritage Center for an office space, and direct county attorney to draft up lease agreement for insurance reasons, really. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye, anybody opposed? Motion is carried 5-0. Claims payroll dated August 8th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Scott, seconded by Travis to approve the payroll claims dated August 8th, 2025. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye, anybody opposed? Motion carried. Claims, there's no prior claims this week, so just claims in the amount of $466,275 and no cents. So moved. Motion by Scott, is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Scott, second by Steve to approve the claims in the amount of $466,275. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye, anybody opposed? Stay. Motion is carried 4-0 with Isaac abstaining. Committee assignments. Travis, have any?
No.
Scott?
Yeah, I had a, FMC landfill meeting August 5th. We went through financial statements, voted to move the annual budget to the full board meeting next month. Signed a new radio advertising contract with local radio station. Got our bids for LP and had a discussion on whether or not to cancel the current lease or give notice of canceling the lease on farmland. It was decided not to do that at the end. I then had a discussion on purchasing a new compactor. The director had been out to Fort Dodge and also Adele and looked at some new different type of compactors than what we currently have. We're still in the discussion phases. Looks like this new compactor is gonna cost probably somewhere between $800,000 and $1.1 million, so we're getting on the trade-in, so. With that, that's all we have.
Isaac, Kevin?
No.
Steve? Not either. Discuss future agenda items. Anything you need, Sheila? Anything I'm missing, anybody?
I just like to see that what the departments get back.
Okay.
I've had enough people, public contacting me, I'd like to see that.
So I guess what does Sheila need to do? She already presented what the givebacks were.
Yeah, so what would you like?
Yeah, it was not officially said.
Well, the expenditures were, so there's the revenue. So I could bring them back.
Yeah, that's what the public wants to see.
Okay, so you want the department, what they gave back, okay.
Anything else for future agenda items? Otherwise, what is it, the 11th, so to 18th, maybe get Travis up here the 25th, maybe, or the 2nd for some documents. Some of us are going to ISAC the week of the 18th. Remind you, the 26th, 27th, we have that ISAC IT audit. Department, oh yeah. Think about it, I can ask next week. Since we are having two department head meetings on the 26th, one and one on the 27th, do we cancel the September 8th one and try to move a department head meeting after ISAC audit on the 27th? Think about it, I can.
Yeah, the state last week, I'll be gone that whole week.
What's that?
I'll be gone that whole week.
Oh, you'll be gone that whole week, so
That's September 8th.
we can leave it the 8th.
No, the week of the 25th.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we can leave it for the 8th. I was just trying to cross off 2 things. Do you guys, I know it was brought to my attention, do we want Ann to come up to the next department head meeting? And for what, I guess, so she has an agenda, if you guys want her to be here, and see if it is scheduled that she can make it for September 8th. I do know she's working on some job descriptions and trying to get a list of handbook issues that people have compiled, so. Otherwise.
I still think it'd be beneficial for the department heads to get, like Steve's kind of talking about, what the final numbers were from last fiscal year and what the deficit or surplus was. So we heard a number this morning and I'm not sure if
That's
that
what's
was.
on the street.
Right, yeah, so let's make sure we clear that up, if that's what's on the street. If that, I don't think that was the surplus, I think that might be what might be left in there that wasn't anticipated.
No,
But do we know what the actual deficit or surplus was when we closed the books on June 30th?
yeah, I think that number is the combination GBGS. I might have said add them up,
Right,
and we have 2.9 in the pool cash.
right.
That is not.
That's not the budget, surplus, I'll tell you that.
That is not the budget surplus.
But then we need to be transparent as we can. And what was the actual surplus or deficit?
That's the percentage.
We anticipated we were gonna spend X and bring in Y. What did we end up with both those numbers and how did we impact this? I think the department heads should know about that as well, in advance of the first budget.
And that's why that it moves every minute, just because people are paying property tax. Some people paid it online before they even got their slips. So that's why, I'll share the number right now. I'll be transparent. So the pool cash today has a balance of almost 3.5 million.
Right.
But people paid property tax, revenues came in. So that's the number that I might have said as our pool cash on July 1st was 2.9 million. But that is not a surplus, that is not a.
Correct.
That's not the perception.
Right, water apples and oranges, so then we need to clear that up. So we need to somehow figure out, because Sheila had preliminary numbers, but I think that's.
Yeah.
What is the actual surplus? That's
And June 30th, that's
Right.
what numbers people want here.
Right.
They're hung up on that.
That was the comment that was in the pool cash on July 1st.
Correct. So what was our surplus or deficit last fiscal year? Where'd we end up? How much did we spend? How much did we take in?
Again, yeah, we can get it. Sheila will help me get it.
Yeah, what's that?
But it's a moving target. I mean, just today, and this is where most people, budget work session we talked about here in 4 or 5 months again, but.
It's a moving target, but not till the end of the year exactly.
Exactly.
And that's what they want.
But that's the other thing that most people, I'll finish with this. I'll show you my journal, but- So if you look at the claims book, here's the right one. So we just approved, what, $500,000 roughly today? But this is where the ticket is. It came out of 10 funds departments. I mean, when you say a number, do they really know which fund it's coming out of? There's a lot of restricted funds. There's a lot of,
And that's what you should tell them.
when we had a lot of budget work session on GBGS issues, because of House File 718, they don't realize there's other restricted funds throughout the county business. I would try to do my best again to explain where the money comes from and how it's spent. So anyway, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Travis, second by Isaac to adjourn at 10:49. All in favor, say aye. Aye, anybody opposed? Motion is carried.
Pretty important, I think.
It's 36.